All right, buckle up because today we're diving deep into the world of diabetes prevention. And let me tell you, it's not your grandma's diabetes prevention lecture anymore. This field is exploding with new research and breakthroughs that are seriously changing the game. What if I told you we're moving beyond? Managing risk and stepping into an era where we might actually rewrite the script on diabetes altogether. Pretty mind-blowing, right?
It really is a fascinating time. When we consider the sheer number of people affected by diabetes globally, the potential impact of these advancements is enormous, not just for individuals, but for healthcare systems worldwide.
Okay, so let's make sure we're all on the same page. We know there are different types of diabetes, and today we're zeroing in on type 2. Why is that?
Type 2 diabetes is where we see the biggest opportunity for prevention. Unlike type 1, which is an autoimmune condition, type 2 often develops over time and is heavily influenced by lifestyle factors and genetics. It's like a combination lock. And we're starting to understand the specific numbers that unlock the door to preventing it.
A combination lock. I like that. But before we crack the code, let's do a super quick recap of what actually happens in type 2 diabetes. It's all about insulin, right?
Right. Think of your cells as tiny factories that need a constant supply of energy to run. That energy comes from glucose, a type of sugar. Insulin acts like a delivery truck, transporting glucose from your bloodstream into your cells.
So insulin is the key player in getting that fuel to where it needs to go.
Exactly. But in type 2 diabetes, the cells become resistant to insulin. Imagine those factories putting up closed for business signs, refusing to let the delivery trucks in. Glucose builds up in the bloodstream. And that's when we start to see problems.
Okay, so that's the challenge. Now, I'm itching to hear about these game-changing prevention strategies. Let's start with the technology side. Continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, those seem to be getting a lot of buzz. Are they really all they're cracked up to be?
CGMs are definitely a powerful tool. They provide real-time data on your blood sugar levels, like having a constant feedback loop that helps you understand how your body responds to different foods, activities, and even stress.
So it's like having a personal blood sugar detective on your wrist. But isn't that a ton of data to process?
It can be. And that's where artificial intelligence, or AI, comes in. We're not just talking about fancy algorithms tracking your steps and calories. AI is being used to analyze those CGM readings, identify patterns, and even predict potential blood sugar spikes before they happen.
Whoa, hold on. Predicting the future of your blood sugar? That sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch?
Well, it's important to remember that AI is a tool, not a magic wand. It can provide incredible insights, but it still relies on accurate data and individual behavior. But what's really exciting is that researchers are now starting to combine CGM data with genetic information to create even more personalized prevention strategies.
Okay. You're pulling me back into the sci-fi realm here.
Yeah.
Genetically tailored diabetes prevention. What does that even look like?
Think of it this way. By analyzing specific genes, we can identify individuals who are at higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, even years before any symptoms appear. This allows us to intervene much earlier, potentially delaying or even preventing the onset of the disease.
So it's like having a sneak peek into your health future and then taking steps to rewrite the ending. Pretty incredible. And I know we can't talk about diabetes technology without mentioning the artificial pancreas. It's primarily used to manage diabetes right now, but I've heard whispers about its potential in prevention too. What's the story there?
It's still early days, but the research is incredibly promising. The artificial pancreas basically takes over the role of a malfunctioning pancreas, constantly monitoring glucose levels and delivering insulin as needed. It's like having a backup generator for your body's energy system.
So for someone at high risk of developing type 2, could the artificial pancreas essentially keep them from ever crossing that threshold?
That's the idea. It's like providing constant support to help the body maintain healthy blood sugar control, even in the face of genetic predispositions or lifestyle challenges.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so we've got these incredible technological advancements, personalized insights from genetics. It's like the future of diabetes prevention is arriving at warp speed. But let's be honest, all this high-tech stuff can feel a bit overwhelming. Where does the good old-fashioned advice about diet and exercise fit into this picture? Are those still relevant?
Absolutely. Technology is a powerful tool, but it's not a substitute for a healthy lifestyle. Think of it like building a house. Technology might give you the fanciest appliances and gadgets, but you still need a strong foundation.
So diet and exercise are still the cornerstones of prevention. even in this brave new world of gene editing and artificial pancreases.
Absolutely. In fact, understanding your individual genetic makeup can help tailor lifestyle recommendations to be even more effective. It's about working with our biology, not trying to outsmart it.
Okay, so it sounds like this isn't a case of technology versus lifestyle. It's more about how they can work together to create a more holistic and personalized approach to prevention.
Exactly. And this brings us to another really interesting area of development, the growing emphasis on community-based prevention programs.
I'm all ears. What are these programs all about, and what makes them so special?
These programs are all about meeting people where they are. They recognize that diabetes doesn't affect everyone equally. Different communities face unique challenges and have different needs when it comes to prevention.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's about tailoring strategies to fit the specific cultural and social context of each community.
Precisely. For instance, a program in a rural community might focus on access to fresh produce and healthy cooking classes, while a program in an urban area might emphasize stress management techniques and physical activity options in a built environment.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about understanding the real-life barriers people face and finding creative solutions that work within those constraints. What are some examples of these creative solutions?
There's a really interesting program I recently learned about that partners with local barbershops and salons to offer blood sugar screenings and diabetes education. It's brilliant because these are trusted community spaces where people already feel comfortable and connected.
Wow, that's such a smart approach. It's about meeting people where they are, literally.
Right.
And integrating health information into existing social structures. Are there other programs that have impressed you?
There's another one that focuses on building community gardens in food deserts. It's not just about providing access to fresh produce. It's about empowering residents to take ownership of their food system and create a sustainable source of healthy options.
That's amazing. It addresses so many levels at once. Access, education, community building, and even environmental sustainability. It sounds like these community-based programs are not just about preventing diabetes. They're about creating a ripple effect of positive change.
That's exactly right. And one of the most fascinating things about these programs is that they often leverage the power of peer support. People learn from and inspire each other, creating a sense of shared accountability and motivation.
There's something so powerful about human connection, right? We're social creatures by nature. It makes sense that we'd be more successful in making healthy changes when we feel supported and encouraged by others who are on a similar journey.
Absolutely. And that sense of community can extend beyond in-person interactions. Online platforms and social media groups are also playing a role in connecting people, sharing resources, and providing virtual support systems.
So it's like creating a global network of diabetes prevention advocates, all sharing their experiences, knowledge, and encouragement.
Exactly. And that brings us to another really crucial point, the role of individual empowerment in prevention. While community support is essential, it ultimately comes down to each person making choices that support their health.
Okay, so let's talk about those choices. We've touched on the big ones: diet, exercise, stress management. But what are some specific actionable steps our listeners can take to start incorporating these into their lives?
Well, when it comes to diet, we've already talked about focusing on whole, unprocessed foods. But it's also about being mindful of portion sizes and listening to your body's hunger and fullness cues.
That's so important. It's not just about what you eat, but how much you eat, and being in tune with your body's signals.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of small changes, swapping sugary drinks for water, choosing whole grains over refined grains, adding an extra serving of vegetables to your plate. These small shifts can have a big impact over time.
So it's not about depriving yourself or following some restrictive diet. It's about making gradual, sustainable changes that become part of your everyday routine.
Precisely. And the same principle applies to exercise. You don't have to become a marathon runner overnight. Find activities you enjoy, whether it's dancing, swimming, hiking, or simply taking a brisk walk.
The key is to make it fun and sustainable, something you look forward to rather than dread.
Exactly. And don't forget about strength training. Building muscle mass helps improve insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for diabetes prevention.
So it's not just about cardio, but about incorporating some form of resistance training into your routine as well. Okay, so we've covered diet and exercise. What about stress management? We all know stress can wreak havoc on our bodies, but what are some practical strategies for keeping those stress levels in check?
Well, One of the most effective techniques is mindfulness meditation. It's about bringing your attention to the present moment, observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Studies have shown that regular mindfulness practice can actually lower blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity.
Wow, that's fascinating. So simply by paying attention to our breath, noticing our thoughts and sensations, we can actually influence our physical health.
It might sound counterintuitive, but the mind-body connection is incredibly powerful. And mindfulness isn't the only tool in the stress management toolkit. Deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies you enjoy. These are all effective ways to calm your nervous system and reduce stress hormones.
It sounds like it's about finding what works for you, creating your own personalized stress-busting routine.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect. Life is full of stressors, and there will be times when you feel overwhelmed. The key is to develop healthy coping mechanisms and to reach out for support when you need it.
That's so important. We don't have to go through this alone. There are resources, communities, and professionals who can help us navigate the challenges and stay on track with our health goals.
Absolutely. And speaking of resources, let's delve into some specific organizations and initiatives that are making a real difference in the fight against diabetes.
Okay, tell me more. I'm always eager to learn about organizations that are making a positive impact. What are some of the standouts in the field of diabetes prevention?
Well, one organization that's doing incredible work is the CANAO, American Diabetes Association. They focus on research.advocacy and community outreach.
That's amazing. So they're really going beyond just raising awareness and actually providing tangible solutions that empower individuals and communities. Are there other organizations doing similar work?
Absolutely. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, is another great example they're dedicated to. Public health education and developing evidence-based strategies to prevent chronic diseases.
Wow. So they're really taking a holistic approach, addressing both the individual and systemic factors that contribute to diabetes.
Exactly. And it's this kind of multi-pronged approach that's going to be crucial in moving the needle on diabetes prevention. We need a combination of individual action, community support, and systemic change to truly make a difference.
It sounds like there's a real momentum building in this field, with so many dedicated individuals and organizations working towards a common goal.
There is. Yeah. And it's incredibly inspiring to see the progress that's being made. But we still have a long way to go, and there are some significant challenges that need to be addressed.
Like what? What are some of the biggest hurdles standing in the way of widespread diabetes prevention?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is access to care. Many people, especially those in underserved communities, face barriers to healthcare, including lack of insurance, transportation issues, and limited access to healthcare providers.
That's a huge issue. If people can't even get basic healthcare, how can we expect them to prioritize preventative measures?
Exactly. And then there's the issue of health literacy. Even when people have access to care, they may not understand the information they're given or feel empowered to make informed decisions about their health.
So it's not just about providing information, it's about making that information accessible, understandable, and relevant to people's lives.
Yeah. Precisely. And this is where community-based programs can play a crucial role by meeting people where they are, building trust, and tailoring education to specific needs. These programs can bridge the gap between healthcare and the community.
That makes so much sense. It's about creating a system where prevention becomes an integral part of healthcare rather than an afterthought. But beyond access and health literacy, are there other challenges we need to be aware of?
Absolutely. There's the issue of funding for research and prevention programs. We need continued investment in scientific advancements, as well as support for community-based initiatives that are making a real difference on the ground.
That's so true. Funding is often the lifeblood of progress, and it's crucial that we prioritize resources for diabetes prevention, both at the research level and in terms of community outreach.
Exactly. And finally, there's the challenge of changing cultural norms and behaviors. Diabetes prevention requires long-term lifestyle changes, and it can be difficult to maintain those changes in a society that often prioritizes convenience over health.
It's about shifting the mindset from a reactive approach to healthcare, where we only seek help when we're sick, to a proactive approach, where we prioritize prevention and make healthy choices part of our everyday lives.
That's a great way to put it. It's about creating a culture where prevention is valued and supported, where healthy habits are the norm, not the exception.
And that's a culture I think we can all get behind. But before we get too carried away with envisioning this diabetes-free utopia, let's bring it back to the present.
You're right, we've covered a lot of ground today, from cutting-edge technology to the power of community-based programs.
And while the future of diabetes prevention is incredibly exciting, there are things we can do right now to reduce our risk.
Absolutely. And those actions can have a significant impact on our health and well-being.
So where do we go from here? What are some practical steps we can take to start making a difference?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore in detail after a quick break.
Stay tuned for more insights and actionable advice on how you can take charge of your health and join the movement towards a diabetes-free future. All right, we're back and ready to shift gears from big-picture ideas to concrete actions you can take right now to prevent type 2 diabetes. What's the first step on this journey?
It all starts with knowing your personal risk factors. Talk to your doctor about your family history. Get blood work done to assess your current metabolic health. And be honest with yourself about your lifestyle habits. It's like gathering intel before a big mission.
Okay, so knowledge is power, but knowing and doing are two different things. How do we bridge that gap and actually translate this information into lasting changes?
That's where the power of habit formation comes in. Instead of trying to overhaul everything at once, focus on making small, sustainable changes that you can build upon over time.
So it's like those tiny course corrections a spaceship makes to stay on course. Over time, those small adjustments lead to a huge difference in where you end up. But let's get specific. What are some of those course corrections people can make when it comes to diet?
One powerful change is focusing on the quality of carbohydrates you consume. Think whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Instead of refined grains, sugary drinks, and processed snacks, it's about choosing carbs that provide sustained energy and fiber, rather than those that lead to blood sugar spikes and crashes.
So it's not about eliminating carbs altogether, but about choosing wisely. What about portion sizes? That always trips me up.
Portion control is key. A simple trick is to use smaller plates and bowls. This can visually trick your brain into feeling satisfied with less food. And remember, it takes time for your stomach to signal to your brain that you're full. Slow down, savor each bite, and give your body a chance to catch up.
Those are some great tips. But let's be honest, healthy eating can feel intimidating, especially if you're not a whiz in the kitchen. What advice do you have for people who aren't exactly culinary masterminds?
Cooking at home doesn't have to be complicated. Start with simple recipes that use fresh ingredients. Roast a pan of vegetables with some herbs and spices. Grill a piece of fish or chicken. Or toss together a quick salad. There are tons of resources online and in cookbooks that cater to beginners.
And I've found that meal prepping can be a huge time saver. Dedicate a couple of hours on the weekend to chop veggies, cook grains, and portion out snacks for the week ahead. It makes healthy eating so much easier when you have grab-and-go options ready to go.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to get creative and experiment in the kitchen. Cooking should be fun. It's a great way to connect with your food, learn about different flavors, and nourish your body.
Okay, so we've tackled diet. Now let's move on to exercise. What are some effective and, more importantly, enjoyable ways to get moving?
The best exercise is the one you'll actually do consistently. Find activities that you genuinely enjoy, whether it's dancing, hiking, swimming, biking, or simply taking a brisk walk in nature. Think about what brings you joy and incorporate movement into those activities.
I love that approach. It shouldn't feel like a chore. And I've found that having an exercise buddy can really boost motivation and accountability.
Right. That social connection can make all the difference. Join a walking group. Sign up for a dance class. Or find a friend to hit the gym with. And remember, you don't have to go from 0 to 60 overnight. Start gradually and build up your activity level over time.
Speaking of building up, we can't forget about strength training. I've heard it's not just about aesthetics. It actually plays a role in diabetes prevention, too.
Absolutely. Building muscle mass helps improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body can use insulin more effectively to regulate blood sugar. Aim for at least 2 sessions of strength training per week, targeting major muscle groups.
Okay, so we've got diet, exercise, and now the ever-present challenge of stress management. How does stress tie into the diabetes picture? And what are some practical strategies for keeping those stress hormones in check?
Chronic stress can lead to elevated cortisol levels, which can disrupt insulin function and contribute to insulin resistance. It's like your body is constantly on high alert, which can take a toll on your metabolic health.
So, finding ways to calm that fight or flight response is essential. What are some of your go-to stress-busting techniques?
Mindfulness meditation is a game changer. Even just a few minutes a day of focused breathing and bringing your attention to the present moment can have a profound impact on your stress levels.
And I've found that spending time in nature is incredibly restorative. Even a short walk in the park can help me feel more grounded and centered.
Nature has an amazing ability to soothe the nervous system. And don't underestimate the power of simple pleasures. Listening to music, reading a good book, taking a warm bath, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in hobbies that bring you joy. It's about intentionally carving out time for activities that nourish your soul.
It's like giving yourself permission to recharge and refuel, both physically and emotionally.
Exactly. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to stress management. Experiment with different techniques and find what works best for you. And don't hesitate to seek professional help if you're struggling to manage stress on your own.
Such an important point. There's no shame in reaching out for support. In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness. So, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the latest scientific breakthroughs to simple yet powerful lifestyle changes. What's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
The most important message is that type 2 diabetes is largely preventable, while genetics plays a role. Our lifestyle choices have a profound impact on our risk. By making informed choices, embracing healthy habits, and seeking support when needed, we can take control of our health and create a brighter future for ourselves and our communities.
It's been an incredible journey exploring this topic with you. Thanks for sharing your insights and empowering us to take action.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, knowledge is power, and prevention is the key to a healthier and happier life.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of diabetes prevention. We hope you feel inspired and equipped to embark on your own journey towards a healthier future. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay proactive in taking care of your well-being.